What's up, everyone? Hey, it's Chris with NLI Scouting. We got some good stuff today. With us is Bryce Einstein, a D1 guy in the A Sun Conference at Lipscomb University. What's up, Bryce?
Not much. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Saw you pitch in the opener last week in Bradenton for the College Summer League. You throwing strikes, getting outs like you always do.
Yes, sir. Just working on bouncing back from this whole Corona year and trying to get some work in, get ready for next year.
Yeah, it's been quite the year, hasn't it? Really unique.
Yeah, it's something that I'm sure will go down in the history books.
Yes, it will. Hopefully, no one else has to go through this in upcoming recruiting classes.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, guys, Bryce and I have known each other now for 3 years. He became an NLI guy in 2017 as a sophomore, and he's the only guy actually who said, "Hey, I'm a D3 guy," and I actually said, "No, you're a D1 guy." And him and his parents were looking at me like I was freaking crazy. But he had the intangibles, he had the size, which you can't teach. He's a submarine guy from down under, and lo and behold, he's at Lipscomb, one of the best schools in the country in the A Sun Conference. So tell me about your recruiting process real quick to help out some guys who watch this on a weekly basis.
So when we first started out, we started sending emails out to a lot of different schools around freshman year, and that's really what got the job done. Reaching out to a bunch of different college coaches, calling them, setting up meeting times. And with your help, Chris, we got a lot more contacts throughout sophomore year. And then eventually by the end of the sophomore summer, I had a few offers presented, and I had a few to select from. And so after that, I felt like Lipscomb was the perfect spot for me. And everything else after that just kind of fell into place.
Absolutely. When you went to visit Lipscomb, did you ask yourself the question, hey, can I call this place home for 4 years? Was that one of the factors?
Yeah, for sure. The best thing that I can say to people is you'll know whenever you step on campus if that's the spot for you. Because I've toured many different types of campuses, small, large, and all in between. And when I stepped on Lipscomb, it was just like the campus kind of spoke to me and everything just kind of fell into place and it felt like home. And so it's a feeling that's kind of hard to describe, but all I can say is that when you step on that campus, you'll know.
Yeah, I tell kids that all the time. It's nothing you can describe. You just feel it yourself, and it's different for every person. But once you feel it, you know it.
Oh, for sure.
All right, well, let's jump into the topic of this video on the life of a D1 baseball player. So let's start day one. You walk on the campus there in Nashville, Tennessee. Enlighten us. What's it all about?
So when we first stepped onto campus, we had a baseball meeting, and it just kind of told us the in and outs of the whole campus and what our life is going to be like for the fall, because the fall is totally different than the spring, obviously. And so how our day usually went is we would have different lifting groups throughout the day. We would have one group that lifted at 7 o'clock, and one group at 10, one group at 1. And so based on your schedule, you would choose which one worked the best. And then you would go to class usually from 8 to 1. Whenever you didn't have class, you would work out. And then after that, we would have practice from about 2 to 5:30. And then for freshmen, we had study hall because obviously we have to get the academics done. And so we would have 5 hours of study hall every week. And so then after study hall, most of us would usually get a second lift in or go to the cages or go to our bullpen and get some work in. And then after that, you start to run out of hours of the day.
Yeah, no doubt. So how many hours a day with academics and baseball related activities were you investing each day?
Usually we would wake up around 6:30, 7 o'clock. And by the time we got done with all the secondary workouts and all that, we would get back in the dorm room around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it was a full-time job.
14 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're doing something that you love, it does not seem like a job at all. It was everything I could hope for and more.
Oh, absolutely. No, when you love something, it's just that. It's your passion. It's not a job.
hmm
Um, and I tell kids this all the time, and you've said this a few times now. The word job, even though you don't look at it as a job, you put the hours in like it's a profession at the college level. Make no mistake, especially D1 baseball, it's a business. It's a job, and you got to be all in. If you're not, you're all out.
Oh, for sure. And with that, you have to learn. In high school, a lot of people get away with just talent, but when you get to college, the whole mental aspect comes into play. And so you have to know the game inside and out. You have to be 100% dedicated to the sport because when you're not working, somebody else on your team is. And so it's a competition, but it's a healthy competition because everybody's pushing themselves to try to like or pushing each other so we can become the best team possible and then hopefully get the end goal of a championship.
Oh, absolutely. And you guys are lined up, man. You got some talent stacked in there for next year.
Yeah, we were really looking forward to how we were looking this year. I feel like we had a good shot at the title this year, and we have the same core group of guys coming back. And we have a bunch of good transfers coming in, and it's going to be something special this year.
Absolutely. So the one thing I wanted to talk about, and I know Lipscomb is a lot different than a lot of mid-majors and obviously Power Fives in the sense that they don't overcommit. Normally in the normal year, you have 35 and 27 are the numbers for roster size. Um, you guys are a little unique because they don't overcommit. Usually the guys that come in are staying there. Um, but can you tell me through experiences with other teammates that have gone to other places how that might be different with the roster size and guys possibly not being there after their first semester in their freshman year?
Yeah. So at Lipscomb, we really hammer in the concept of family, and we're all there for each other. And it's a very different atmosphere than a lot of my friends have talked about. Whereas at those other schools like Florida and just a lot of those high established schools, that it's very much like a business, and they'll bring in a lot of more kids and everybody has to really fight for their spot. And then that's why when you look at the transfer portal right now, there's an absurd amount of kids from those higher end schools in the portal because they have that whole now with the Corona year, it's 5 years of classes with only about 4 years to really play.
Right.
So you got all these kids flooding every college system, and it's very overwhelming for them. So for Lipscomb, it's good to know that like we have a family type atmosphere where everybody's believed in throughout our program, and we're really trying to develop everybody and get them each to the best like player that they can be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You guys are completely different in the recruiting process compared to a lot of mid majors and Power Fives because for the most part, those guys that come in are there 4 years
Mm.
unless they really go sideways. But
Yeah. And then another big thing that we try to do with all the players that we bring in is we want them to be great baseball players, obviously, but we want them to also be great people. So we're not trying to bring in anybody that's toxic to the team that just because, hey, they're a stud, that they can act however they want. We
right.
try to get guys that are going to gel together and just turn into a great team and a great family.
Oh, absolutely. No, you guys do it right there. Brian and Jeff and all those guys are awesome. So you mentioned when we first started talking, there's a difference between the fall season and the spring season. So we went over the fall. Talk to us about the difference of spring now.
So the spring, obviously, I didn't get a full experience of the spring with the Corona year, but so far, what we were really experiencing was you have to really balance travel time with schoolwork. So for some of my classes, I was only there maybe once every 2 weeks because we would travel to Alabama, we would travel to Tennessee Tech and schools like that. And so you really have to you have to learn from your teammates. A lot of them will teach you what you're missing too because they have experience, but you also have to try to balance the time for yourself because obviously you still got to focus on baseball, focus on your game, but you have to get it done in the classroom to be able to play baseball.
Right.
And so it's a big balance, and usually your schedule will be different. So for us, usually Wednesdays were off days. So that's when if you have like a lab that you have to do for a class, you'd put it on a Wednesday and like try to put a lot of your classes on Wednesdays so you'll be there for all those. But then usually we'll have our midweek on a Monday or Tuesday, and then the weekend series on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
So you're missing most of your Friday classes and a decent amount of your Tuesday classes. And so, yeah.
Do you have an academic advisor? And if you do, how many do you have? And what's their role in helping, especially freshmen, adjust to that new lifestyle?
Yeah, I believe we have two academic advisors, but we also have a whole tutor system. So with us missing a lot of our classes due to sports, we have tutors that they'll teach us everything that we need to know. And the school really wants you to succeed. They don't want you to get behind in any of your classes.
Right.
So there's math lab, writing lab, physics lab. There's any kind of like tutoring session that you need. And it's really great.
So if you're in a hotel room in Knoxville, Tennessee, getting ready for a three-game series there, you might have, if you're doing schoolwork, at some point in the hotel room that weekend, that's where an advisor might keep you on track possibly, or if you have any questions.
Oh, definitely. And we can set up like Zoom meetings or anything with those advisors if they can travel with us. But also throughout our team, we're blessed to have a really, really smart team. So most of the upperclassmen actually they are some tutors during the fall. So they'll end up helping us through a lot of our different classes.
That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And the cool thing with college baseball, like with me, I played a long time ago. I won't tell you how long, but I still talk to my teammates now. Like I had talked to them yesterday, and we're talking decades ago. So that's the cool thing, that camaraderie, which you'll experience when you get my age a long time from now, and it's something that you can't replace. It's a second family.
Oh yeah, for sure. These bonds that we made through the team for only a year and a half they're some of the greatest friendships that I've made up to this point in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you want to tell us that maybe we haven't talked about to tell kids that are going to be getting into this very soon?
The only thing I can really say is you really have to be passionate about this game to try to play baseball at a very high level. You can't be lazy, because if you are lazy, you're going to get passed up and you can't complain about how you're not playing. If you want to play on the field, you got to put forth all the work. And it's a lot of stuff to commit to, but if you're that passionate, it shouldn't be that big of a commitment. It should be you're having fun doing it.
Absolutely. And I would say you're doing pretty darn good at it, Mr. Einstein.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, hey, the information you provided today was awesome. I can't wait for guys to see this. So we're going to be releasing this video Friday, and make sure and subscribe to our channel by hitting that button below. Bryce, have a great rest of the summer. I'll probably see you later this week in Bradenton or in St. Pete. And keep working hard, man. Keep representing.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
No problem. All right. See you.